Check.
So, well, you get up in there and just give me a check kind of thing.
Check, check, check.
Probably stand back,
Check, check, check.
6 inches. Yeah.
Can y'all hear me down there?
We'll crank
Cool,
you up a little
cool,
more.
cool. Right.
Buddy, I got this.
Are we good?
All we got. It's all
Okay, okay.
That's all.
Siya nagat zan ugita tagutam. Ayo zalat nuloy lakota. Degawa tani langat guenas os egohita. I said, my name is John Feather. I am Cherokee in Lakota, and I welcome you all here in a good manner, in a good way, to the homeland of my people, my grandparents. My grandmother was a full-blooded Cherokee Indian woman from Cherokee, North Carolina. She was a medicine woman, and I grew up on the reservation in Cherokee. And my grandfather, he was from Rosebud, South Dakota. He came out here. He met my grandmother in the 1940s, early 40s. And they had about 7 children. No, they did have 7, not about, but they did have 7 children. 3 of them have already passed over into the spirit world. And my mother and her sisters are still here, and I think one brother. So I want to say thank you for having me here in a good manner, in a good way. I want to ask my elders out there to give me some forgiveness for speaking in front of you. If I offend anyone, I'm not doing it purposefully. I come from Piney Grove section of Cherokee, and I live in Wolftown. And Wolftown, I was telling my friend over here that Wolftown is one of our communities that are warriors that come from the Wolftown community. I mean, there's warriors that come from every community, but the Wolftown and the Wolf Clan, and they are the warriors. My clan is the Deer Clan. We were the runners, as you can tell. I'm a runner. Actually, I did run. I ran track in high school, the 2-mile, and also I ran 10K races up until something else caught up to me called McDonald's. I'm going to tell you a story. Ronald caught me, and he shoved them Big Macs down my throat. So I want to tell you guys something. Would you guys like to hear a Cherokee story? Yeah. All right, put your hands together. Round of applause. Louder. 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 Standing ovation. Standing ovation. Yeah. Bark, bark, bark. Louder, louder. No, I'm just kidding. If you haven't noticed by now, Cherokees, as well as all native people, we are very humorous people. We love to laugh. Many years ago, in the old days. I know. Shut up. That's what I was told by my wife, my ex-wife. In the old days, whenever the brother Yona is in our language, we say Yona. Everybody say Yona. That means bear in our language. And Brother Bear was hibernating deep in his den one year. And have you guys ever have what they call the midnight munchies? You're dead asleep and you just wake up and you're just hungry as you can get up, and you have to run to Taco Bell. Well, we're the same, but back in the day there wasn't no Taco Bell, or there was no Chick-fil-A. So Brother Bear, he woke up out of a deep slumber, middle of winter, 10 foot of snow outside his cave. He came out his cave and he looked around, started walking down the trail, and he had those hunger pains. So he was going down looking for food. So as he was walking, he came across Brother Fox. In our language, we say Zutla. Everybody say Zutla. That means fox in the Cherokee language. He came across Brother Fox on the trail. Brother Fox had just been fishing for his family. He had a stringer full of fish, carrying on his back, and he was looking down as he was walking on the trail. He didn't see Brother Bear until he bumped into him. And at that time, Brother Bear had a long, beautiful tail, about 6 foot long, very fluffy. And when he bumped into Brother Bear, he looked up, and before he could run the other way, Brother Bear grabbed him by the shoulder and said, "Brother Fox, Utla, I'm hungry. Can you share some of your fish with me? I will be very grateful." And Brother Fox knew that if he gave Brother Bear any of the fish that he had on his stringer, that he wouldn't be satisfied with just one. He would have to take all of them, because he knew Brother Bear, knew how he was. So he told him, he says, "Brother Bear," he said, "I can't give you any of my fish today." He said, "But I can tell you how to catch them. And you will catch a lot more than me, because your tail is a lot more fluffy and a lot more longer than my tail." "Well, how did you catch those fish?" Brother Fox asked Brother Bear. Brother Bear said, "Well, I went down to the water, down to the Oconaluftee River in Cherokee." He said, "I took a rock and I busted a big hole in the ice that was about 6 inches deep." He said, "I stuck my long furry tail down there, and whenever the fish started biting my tail, I could tell because it hurt." And he said, "I pulled my tail out of the water and I had a stringer full of fish." Very easy, very simple. It's all you have to do. Just go down to the river, go down to the Oconaluftee, knock a hole in the water, stick your tail down there in the water, and whenever you start feel it some stinging, when you feel pain, feel it painful, he said, you just pull your tail out of the water. He said, you'll have a stringer full of fish, just like me. So Brother Bear stood there and he looked up in the sky and he started thinking about it. While he was looking away, Brother Fox took off running down the trail, and he left Brother Bear standing there. So before Brother Bear could see where he was gone. He was already gone down the trail. So Brother Bear said, forget him, man. He said, I'm going to go down, catch me some fish myself. So he went down to the river. He took a big rock. He knocked a hole in the river. And he turned around. He stuck his long, beautiful tail all the way down to the bottom of the Oconaluftee. And about 20 minutes later, he started feeling it stinging, started feeling it burning. Oh man, I got a lot of fish on my tail. I must have a lot of fish on my tail. So he started to pull his tail out of the water. And what do you think happened? What? Yes, his tail froze solid to the ice. And he couldn't pull his tail loose no matter what he tried. So he kept pulling and he kept pulling and he kept pulling. And finally, he got loose. But guess what happened? His tail stayed in the Oconaluftee, where it is today, still somewhere floating down the Oconaluftee. And that is the Cherokee story of how Yonah lost his tail. His tail is short and stubby still to this day. So that is the story of how Brother Bear lost his tail. Ahu, Pilamya. Ski. I think I got time for one more story. Would you like to hear another story? Come on, give me a round of applause. Come on, man. I need one of those signs that says applause, applause, applause. I'm going to go on tour one day and take that sign with me. This next story, folks, has to do with first man and first woman. First man in our tradition, his name was Kanadi, and first woman, her name was Shailu. She was Corn woman, and in our tradition, in our ways, everything that we say, every story that we have, has a moral to the story. Just like that story I told you about Brother Bear, that's how he lost his tail. And you know, it kind of teaches us and shows us a better way. So this story right here, if I can tell it to you in a good way, in a good manner, you know, and remember it, because I am getting old. I am I'm a veteran, and I'm getting to be an elder. In a year and a half, I will be considered an elder of our tribe. So we're considered elders at 59 and a half. So I just turned 58 last Saturday. So yeah, you can applaud for that. Happy birthday, Jonathan. Happy birthday. Yeah, thank you, thank you. How'd you know? This story right here, it was about first man and first woman, and they had their first argument. And whenever they were arguing, Shiloh said, "I'm done with you. I'm leaving. I'm going to take my stuff and I'm going to go." And Kanadi was so mad, so frustrated. He said, "Well, go on, get out of here. I don't care. Take off, leave." So Shayla started walking down the trail, and she started walking and walking and walking, and he could barely see her in the distance. He said, "She'll turn around. She'll come back. She can't leave this." She said, "You see?" He said, "You see this? She won't leave this." And he kept watching, and she got on down toward the horizon, and how you could see just little bitty speck of her all the way down the trail. So he started thinking to himself, wow, I really enjoyed speaking to her. I enjoyed our conversations. I really miss that. I really enjoyed, the bean bread and the chestnut bread that she would make for me. She was the best in our tribe, and I really miss that. I really miss her company. I better go get her. I better go follow her. So he started walking and walked all night, walked into the morning. And as close as he could get was still, he could just barely see her. Just barely see her, just real little small, like that way in the distance on the horizon. He said, "What am I going to do, Creator?" So he asked Creator, Unehlana in our language. God is called Unehlana. And he was asking Unehlana, "What do I do?" So Unehlana gave him a message and told him, "I will slow her down so you can catch her." So Unehlana started putting huckleberries in front of her. And she was walking, she just kept walking, started putting all these beautiful fruits and all these beautiful flowers in front of her. And Shayla just kept walking. She kept ignoring them. Finally, Creator put strawberries in front of her. She started walking on those strawberries and that fragrance. And she was getting hungry because she hadn't ate all night. So that fragrance started coming up, started wafting up in her nose. And she's like, "Man, that smells pretty good. Let me try one." So she reached down and she tried one of the strawberries. And she said, "Man, that's pretty good. I'm gonna pick a few and I'm gonna have some strawberries for lunch." So she stopped and she started picking strawberries. And as she was doing that, Kanadi was steadily catching up to her. And he could see her getting closer and closer, and he was getting closer and closer to her. And finally, he caught her. He came up to her and he apologized. He said, "I'm going to ask you to come back and let's start it over, And I apologize for everything I said to you, everything I did to you." And so she accepted his apology. And so she went back, but they picked some more strawberries. They picked a gallon of strawberries or a bunch of strawberries, and he took them home. And to this day, our people use those strawberries to, in our tradition, whenever you get married, we're supposed to feed strawberries to each other, because if you notice, strawberry is shaped like a heart. And so it is the fruit of love for the Cherokee people. So you remember that. You feed your spouse, you feed your wife or your husband strawberries, and you will never ever get divorced. If you do, come to me, I'll pay you. Hey, no, I'm just kidding. I'll give you some money for that. No, I'm just kidding. But we have our traditional dancers coming up. Y'all ready to see the Cherokee dancers? They're world famous known now. Mr. Wildcat, he's the leader here. And he's going to share with you some of these dances and these songs. I want to say thank you in our language. We don't have a word for goodbye. We don't have no curse words in the Cherokee language either. I was doing a show over at East Tennessee University, which is coming up in about 2 weeks, and I was telling them we don't have no curse words in Cherokee language, and I said, you know, and we don't have no goodbye in our language. We just say till we meet again, or later, man. And one of the professors raised her hand. She said, well, if you don't have any curse words in your language, what do you do? What do you do when you become angry? I said, that's when we start using your language. So in our language, we say, go ahead, you, danda, go ahead. That just means later. I'll see you. I'll see you in a little while. So give these guys a round of applause. Come on, come on, give it up. All right, get them started with a good round of applause. Aho, ski. In Oklahoma, they say, "Wato."
The first dance that we will be doing, this is our bear dance. And in the bear dance, it was used as a way to give thanks, but also ask Creator, ask Unahana, permission to hunt this animal, but also asking for forgiveness. Because I don't know if anybody thinks about this or not when they're hunting, but you're taking an animal's life. It might be a mother bear or a father bear, brother bear. And so either way, you're taking its life. And so we have to give thanks. We have to show appreciation. We use every part of the animal to for anything. We use the fat, melt it and render it down to make a paint. We would use the bones for tools, the teeth and claws for adornment, decoration that we wear into battle. And so these dances themselves, all of them have significant meaning. And so with these dances, and again, this is just our way of showing thanks. And so this is our Yonalt Skisti, this is our bear dance. And so in this dance, you'll see them as they're imitating the bears, you'll see them as they're clawing around, but you'll also see them slow down and imitate the bear going through the 4 seasons. One of the seasons being the preparing for hibernation. And so you'll see them gather acorns and berries and get ready for a long winter. And most people don't realize this, but most of our black bears were actually plant and berry eaters. They weren't all like fully, meat eaters. So, anywho, this is our bear dance. This is Yonalt Skisti, and this is how it goes. Be careful. There we go. Hey, 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 wahe, 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 hey, da, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, da, hey, yo. Hey yo, hey da, honey, hey yo, hey yo, hey da, honey, hey da, honey, hey da, honey, hey yo, hey da, honey, hey yo, hey da, honey, hey yo, hey da, honey, hey da, honey, hey da, honey, hey yo, hey yo. Hey aganu, hey aganu, hey aganu, hey 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 aganu, hey yo, hey aganu, hey aganu, hey hey aganu, hey aganu, hey yo, hey hey, yo na odige. Igaya ishi unanda shiha kule to yohi Nigaya ite ya egowe ya egowe ya egowe ya egowe ya egowe ya egowe next dance that we're gonna do, this is known as our Yonalt ski, Shalu ski sti. There we go. We're gonna do this is known as our corn dance. This is known as our Shalu. Corn was a great cultivation source for us, and it was also obviously a great source of food, but also showing appreciation to our women. You'll see the men in the dance, throughout the dance, you'll see them raise their arms above the women, and in a way showing respect, showing honor, as I've been told about it. And so, but you'll see the men gathering the corn and handing it off to the women. And this just shows us as a communal force working together to get the job done, whatever it may be. And so this is our corn dance. This is Shalu and all ski sting. Here it goes. Oh, and yeah, oh, and yeah, oh, and yeah, hey, go, 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 and oh, and yeah, hey, go, and yeah, 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 yo, hey, come on. All right. Now you can set the corn down. All right. Now for the next one, we're going to do a do stew. This is known as our spring frog dance. So this is a dance that we do to give thanks to our Creator for bringing rain to us. So this is our way of showing appreciation because, of course, for things to grow, we need the sun. We also need the rain. And so with this dance, this is our way of kind of like, from what I've been told, basically is used to represent the frog, how it's able to transfer between one world into another. Some might say it could mean the aquatic world versus this part, the land. And so you'll see them switch direction, like throughout most of our dances, they're done in circular motion, counterclockwise, but you'll see them switch that direction midway through the song. And so this is our do stew, this is our spring frog. And sometimes throughout the springtime, probably even summer, you hear those little frogs talking when a good rain is happening. So this is our spring frog dance. This is do stew, or ski stew. Here we go. Yo, yo, hey, yo, yo, hey, you gonna know, you gonna know, yo, hey, you gonna know, you gonna know, yo, hey, yo, hey, you gonna know, you gonna know, yo, hey, you gonna know, you gonna know. Yo, yo, ee. Yo, yo, ee. You gonna know, you gonna know. Yo, yo, ee. You gonna know, you gonna know. Yo, yo, ee. Yo, yo, ee. You gonna know, you gonna know. Yo, yo, ee. You gonna know, you gonna know, yo, yo, ee. Yo, yo, ee. Yo, yo, ee. You gonna know, you gonna know, yo, yo, ee. You gonna know, you gonna know, yo, yo, ee. Yo, yo, ee. Yo, yo, ee. yo yo way, yo yo way, hey yo yo way, yo gani na, 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 yo way, yo way, yo way, yo way, yo way, yo gani na, 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 yo way, yo way, yo way, yo way, yo gani na, 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 yo way, yo way, yo way, yo way, hey yo way, yo gani na, 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 yo way, hey come on. All right, now, before I continue on to the next one, just to give a little bit of like history on why it's important we practice our dances. From basically the late 1700s, different policies were made against our people, that we weren't allowed to practice our forms of belief, our ways of agriculture, basically just our forms of living. From that time period of the late 18th century all the way up to about 1979, we were not allowed to practice these things. Up until 79, it was the Indian Civil Rights Act, where we were finally allowed to practice these things. And these are things that were part of our everyday lives, part of our just natural way of doing things, stuff that we did when we got up in the morning naturally, and then to be told that we weren't allowed to do these things, it was hard to adjust to, of course. I can only imagine what our ancestors went through. And so that's why it's important when we do these things, we keep them going. And also just to make sure that this stuff gets passed on. And we're to the point now where, you know, we are protective of our culture. We're protective of our songs, our stories, our overall culture. And so when we practice these songs, when we present these to you, we take this in some ways like you should be kind of privileged, because like I said, we weren't allowed to practice these things. And so now it's like this is our way of educating, this is our way of teaching. This is showing our way of how we dance, not what you'll see imitators do or people that appropriate our culture, but how it's supposed to be done. And so this next dance, this is one of my favorite songs. This is actually our buffalo dance. And this is known as Skisti. And in this dance, this is like it's like in some ways known as a courtship dance, but similar to the bear dance, it was used to give thanks. We actually had mountain bison in this area up until about the late 18th century. And so this is our way of honoring that animal. And this is how it goes. The last one that was seen was in the Asheville area, from what I heard, about the late 18th century, early 1800s. Some said the Snowbird area in the early 1900s. So, but anyway, so this is how it goes. And in some ways you'll see them like, you know, getting ready to charge. You'll see them like just having a good time with it. While these songs are used to have fun, to educate, they are used to have fun. And so this is our Skisti. This is our buffalo dance. Here we go. Hey, wingo, hey, wingo, hey, away, hey, away, hey, away, hey, wingo, hey, away, hey, away, hey, wingo, hey, away, hey, away, hey, oh, and go, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, and go, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, and go, hey, and go, hey, oh, and go, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, and go, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, Well, I want to thank you guys for your time, and please, if you have any questions about anything what we're doing, about Cherokee, about our museum, that's actually where we're from. If I forgot to mention it, we are from the Museum of the Cherokee. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We're near the front, and there's no such thing as a wrong question or a dumb question or anything. So if anything comes up, please, don't hesitate to come by. We have no, as Mr. Feather said earlier, we have no word for goodbye. So we do say, "Data dog Lahaya." That means until we meet again. If we don't see each other in this world, we'll see each other in the next world. So, yeah.